So this Wii came to me. The Wii came to me, and I said, Jeff, my disk drive doesn't work. I didn't say anything, but this drive came from a friend. This Wii came from a friend. I am recording this after I've already fixed it, so it looks better and it works. But at the time, trust me, it did not work. It made a clicking sound, a very loud, obnoxious clicking sound, which you'll see in the next clip. And it sucks. It's very loud and annoying, and so I diagnosed it and figured out that it ended up being that the drive just needed to be replaced. It was completely screwed up. Wasn't worth fixing. The drives are pretty inexpensive, around $40 or so, so it's not worth the effort to try and fix a spindle. So we're going to take apart this little guy, and then you'll get to see what I did with it. And so there you go. That's it. That's the thing. Here we go. So you can hear it's making that horrible clicking sound, even without a disc. And with a disc, you can see it's trying, and then it just rejects it. Okay, now we're going to take a look here. Try to look at these gears. You can see that the eye's not moving. Really nothing's spinning. The gears are just kind of screwed up. I'm going to put this lid down to make it think a disc went in. There's a sensor that it needs to have a little connection. So we're going to have to now take it apart. We're going to take these cables off. I want to take apart the actual disk drive and see if there's anything I can fix here with these gears. I'm going to remove these wires very, very carefully with some tweezers because we don't want to damage them. We don't want to rip it off of that motor there or the circuit board. Okay, now I am testing how the laser moves back and forth. I'm seeing if maybe that's the grinding sound. But it looks like it moves fairly free. It was also very greasy, so I don't think there was a problem there. So we'll just give it a shot. Maybe I loosened it up. And as you can see, another failure. Let's try it with a disc just to see if it works anyway. Maybe it's just noisy and it'll work, you know? Not the case. But sure, let's try it again. We love that noise. Who doesn't? Part in the top receives infrared light. And then that little clear guy down there, that sends the infrared light. It's just like a TV remote. In fact, so when it creates that light, when the disc passes over, it blocks the light, and then it knows, oh, a disc just went in. So I can actually simulate this by taking any random TV remote, which flashes infrared light out of it. I'll just go ahead and point that at the little receiver. Oh, faked it out, made it think I put a disc in. Glad I figured that out. Now I don't have to keep dicking around with it. Now I just got to figure out what that little piece does. So I think I figured it out. This is kind of like a drive shaft that spins all the gears and shit. And this was the one close to the motor. When I remove it, I don't hear the grinding noise, which means that it's probably this. And if you, I can't, stay still. You can notice in the right-hand side, in that middle spiral, it's got a weird little discoloration, not discoloration, but a weird crack to it. If I point with the tweezers here, like right around there, see it's kind of, the plastic is chipped, and I believe that's what's causing that grinding noise and is probably making it spin irregularly, which is also making it, not actually load the disc correctly. But we'll see. We'll find out. Now, I kind of messed with this side mechanism here, and I got it to accept the disc and clamp down, but it wouldn't read, and I think it was because the laser was a little, maybe it just couldn't detect a disc, and so it wasn't going to read. So I cleaned it a little bit with a Q-tip and some Windex on the end of it. Rubbing alcohol probably works as well, but honestly, Windex works fine. maybe not long term, I don't know. I fixed hundreds of people's PS2s back in the day doing that, so oh well. No, that should work, let's see. So on the side here is this little mechanism that once it detects that the disc has gone in all the way, the gears turn, and then that makes this top little part drop down and clamp the disc down, and then that starts the motor to spin it, and then the laser comes out and starts reading it. So if you notice here, I can get it, so the thing that knows that the disc is done, but if I manually move this mechanism, you can see the red laser was right over there, and you can hear it kind of clicking. It's trying to read, so it could be a combination of several things. Obviously the drive mechanism that detects whether the disc is in there or not is not currently working. That might be something I can fix. It's probably where that little black chip of plastic, it broke off on there. But the laser's not reading, which I can probably fix that part, and we'll see. Okay, so all CD, DVD, disc drives, they all have a potentiometer on them, and that potentiometer, it's basically a little switch, a little dial. It's basically, you know, what controls volume most of the time in a radio. But that's it right here, and this is on the laser of the disk drive. And you can increase or decrease the power of the laser, and since this was having trouble reading, if I increase the power, it should be able to read. Okay, so we figured out that it was the DVD drive. The disc drive for the Wii is what was giving us problems. So we got a new one. We ordered a new one. This one is going to be shit. I'll actually probably use it for parts, because at some point someone else will come to me with a Wii, and I'll probably need to replace these ribbon cables on it, or maybe some screws or something. So, you know, and actually the laser for this is probably still good. The laser still works. So that would be good. If somebody else is in the future, the laser doesn't work, then I have a replacement. So I have a brand new OEM, genuine Wii Wii disc drive from iFixit.com. iFixit is great if you are interested in doing some repairs on your own stuff. They have a ton of guides on how to do that. So let's take a look at our drive here. Let's make sure it comes with all the cables and stuff, so we don't need to, you know, cannibalize any off of the original drive. This looks great. It's in perfectly, I mean, this is definitely brand new. This is not at all it's not a well, it might be refurbished, but I mean, it's in very good condition. No dust, so nice brand new drive. This is fantastic. So now we have to, it has been months since this Wii was dropped off to me. A lot of things have happened, and so I need to remember where it all goes. So just make sure we get this nice and clean again. Additional dust and dirt is gone. So we need to reconnect our disk drive. So if we remember correctly, there is a ribbon cable that connects here, and ribbon cable, I'm not even showing you guys. Ribbon connector that connects here, and then also just a regular little set of wires connects to this terminal here, and then we should be connected, and then I can plug this into the television and see if we have any success. So let's go ahead and do that. These connectors are somewhat of a pain. Let's remember, okay, so the front is here. Let's see, the front is here. I actually am going to reposition the camera so it can actually get, there we go. All right, so we are going to, this goes in like that, if I remember correctly. Yes, I see the little studs where it sits. Fantastic. So we just need to somehow, very carefully, connect these cables. So we've lifted up the little door here lifts up. I think actually I'm going to plug this cable in first because they are easier to plug in and they are less likely to pop out. So let's go ahead and do that. Make sure you can see. Okay, yes, I am plugging it in here. Felt a little snap. So that's good. And now, lift up our little door. Go ahead and slide our ribbon cable. Whoops. Gotta be very careful with these ribbon cables. It's very, very, very easy to tear them. And once you do that, you are pretty much screwed. All right, so we've got it in there, and then we snap that little lid carefully shut. There we go. We verify, make sure it is in perfectly straight. It is, and it's in pretty tight. Okay, so now we have our cables connected, which means we have power and data connected to the drive. So now I'm going to very carefully get around this. I believe this is the Wi-Fi antenna, I think this is the Wi-Fi, and that's the Bluetooth antennas right here. So I'm going to, there's a wire for it right here. I'm just going to lift it up temporarily. There are little rubber grommets, as they're called, little rubber grommets. Basically those help absorb shock and vibrations, so that way the laser doesn't skip around when it's reading the game. Make sure it's seated on there. Okay, now, yeah, that feels pretty good. It's a little wobbly. Wonder what that is. Let's see here. Get that there. I think once the screws and everything go in, I got to get all the brackets and stuff, but I think we're in pretty good shape. It's a little wobbly, actually. I don't like that. Why is it wobbly? What is that problem? Oh, right. I got to stick that ribbon cable underneath that ledge there. That was getting sandwiched between. Now, look at that. Boom. That's nice. Okay, so that was incredibly fast and easy. The easiest things to repair on most systems is doing a full replacement. I mean, we have the footage on how much effort I put in to try and repair this drive itself with the mechanism here and taking it all apart and everything. And maybe someone who has run into this specific problem in the past could have done a better job of that. But the drives are so cheap that you might as well just replace it. And now this will last even longer than if I managed to repair it. If I repaired this, you might have gotten maybe another year or two out of it. With this, you'll probably get, I mean, easily another decade out of this. Especially since the power supply is external on these systems. You just buy a new power supply if it doesn't power on, and you're probably good. I love that. Okay, so I'm going to plug this into the television and see if I get it to read a disc. Okay, so I now have I've got the system hooked up to the television. It's in standby. Let's go ahead and press the power button. Okay. Oh, this would help. There we go. Okay, so make sure we are filming this. This is the first. Hell yeah. Okay, so it is connected. That's awesome. My TV's in 4:3 mode because I was last playing Super Nintendo on here. So, it's that. But let's just go ahead and pop in a Wii game. Or just pick a game, Jeff. All right, let's do Red Steel. Let's pop Red Steel in. Let's see if that works. Ooh, it took it right away. No awkward clicking. I don't know if you can see, but Red Steel popped up right there. I am going to hook up, let's see. Oh, I gotta plug in the sensor bar too. My goodness. Okay, here we go, Red Steel. Start. It sounds really nice. It's a little loud because the cover is off, but I think we might have a functional Wii. Okay, it's loading. Gonna get the little Ubisoft logo here. Ubisoft? Ubisoft? Who knows? This is great. Ooh, okay, evidence it's trying to read a disc. It's doing a little disc spin there. Press A to continue. Oh, you need a nunchuck. I'm not going to hook it up, but there we go. Look at that. That's a working Wii. I think it's good. All right, so now we're going to put it back together. I'm just going to kind of time lapse this here. Before I put it back together, I wanted to make sure it was nice and clean. It had some stuff that was spilled on it, obviously, which probably caused the problem in the first place. So I cleaned that with a little rubbing alcohol. Also, you might have seen me testing the internal battery with a multimeter to make sure that it still had enough voltage to function. So I didn't need to replace that. We got the RF on there. I couldn't find my screwdriver. Here we go. We've got that. I couldn't remember where the screws went because it had been a while since I took it apart. So you'll see me kind of scrambling around and switching the heads on the screwdriver a whole bunch until I found all the ones that fit in there appropriately. Get that little black cover on there. That was easy to tell. The black screws went on the black plate. That was a nice little thank you, Nintendo. That was cool. They should have color-coded all the screws. So there you have it. I repaired this Wii. I cleaned it up a little bit, but the disk drive is in there. It works perfectly fine. I didn't have any extra batteries to replace the one for the CMOS, but you know what, the real-time clock. But I voltage tested it, and it was still just a tad over 3 volts, so it's still got enough power. So I think the battery's going to last for a good long time. I cleaned out the internals. I cleaned out the outside. There was a lot of spillage on here, which was probably the thing that caused the disk drive to stop working. It arrived to me without the nice little door on it, but cleaned it up, got everything looking good. And that is changing the DVD drive on a Nintendo Wii. This is the original, what is it, the RVL 1001 or RVL 001. Pretty much all of the white Wiis, you can use any disk drive. Any disk drive for any white Wii will work in the other white Wii. There's some differences once they got into the revisions with the red models and the black models, and then the Wii Mini and all that stuff, Slim, whatever it's called. But this one in particular, the original first edition Wiis, you can use a disk drive in any of the ones that came out. As long as it's a white one, the same disk drive will work in every single one of them. It's a pretty simple thing. I highly recommend picking up, if you are going to do this, I definitely recommend picking up one of these little screwdriver bit sets. It has every type of bit for every single thing that you could possibly want to take apart. It's very cool, awesome, and there you have it. This is, that was it. That's the fix Wii. Hopefully you tune in on the next thing that I fix or fail to fix.